Hello and welcome to the cryptocurrency news channel. This is going to be technical, fundamental, and chart analysis for December 2nd, and we also have some news on the horizon. We're going to start this time by looking at the actual Bitcoin chart. You can see that in the last pump, which is beginning of this year, there was 1, 2, 3 peaks before it maxed, and now we've only had 1 and 2. The third peak, of course, was the highest, was 63,000 or 64,000. The second one was 61,000. So going by that, we should get right above 70,000 if we actually follow the pattern since last time. If you actually look from 63,000 to about 68,000 right now, those are the double tops. So there's a slight upward trend. Now, if we look at the bottom right here, at about 28, 29,000. If we take that same trend, we should get about 35,000 as the next bottom on the retrace, if that actually happens. And if you actually look at the timeline, this peak was about maybe like a month after the last peak, and we're not anywhere close. So technically, like if we follow the pattern, November 21st was our last peak at 68,000. But it would be December 21st where we actually peak at just above 70, maybe around 75,000. And then from the December peak to the trough, we have April until essentially July. So 3 months. So we would actually reach our bottom next March. But I don't actually think it's actually, I don't think it's going to follow that. But if you actually follow like the pattern of basically early this year, that's where we would actually be at. We would actually reach the peak around December 21st, around winter solstice, and reach the bottom around March 21st next time, where we would actually go up again, if you actually go by these like really short cycles instead of the long 4-year cycle. But with that, let's actually look at the technicals for right now. So the oscillators right now on the daily are very, very much neutral. Nothing exciting there. They're all neutral. The commodity channel index negative 58, not over negative 100. So neutral. Average directional index not very strong. Awesome oscillators still negative. No change right there. As for the moving averages on the daily, the thing is, like, I actually see the moving averages as more bullish than trading views, because 57,000 over 56,000, the exponential is greater than the simple on the 10-day, which means short-term momentum is positive. And exponential moving average on the 20 is almost the same as simple moving average on the 20, slightly lower. So slightly bullish on the 20 and 30, still might actually be a bull trap on the daily. So we need to watch out for that. Jerome Powell did actually mention that they might actually speed up Fed tapering, and that definitely might actually hurt crypto. Because Fed tapering, generally if they roll back on the bond buys, it will curb inflation, and Bitcoin likes inflation. So maybe not so great on the longer term. BTC on the weekly, we have oscillators, essentially all still very neutral. 56, 61, 42, and 22, all neutral. Nothing there. Awesome oscillator has been as usual. So I would actually say this is pretty neutral with the oscillator and the indicators that I actually go by. Moving average, yes, it is a sell on the exponential 10-week, but on the 20-week and 30-week, it is still a buy. Same thing on the 50-week. And even the 100-week. So obviously, like for the last 10 weeks or for roughly the last, I would say 2.5 months, we actually have slightly bearish momentum. But on the 20 weeks, like 4 or 5 months, and 30 weeks, 5 or 6 months, we're definitely still at a buy. So overall, the summary is we're at a buy. Maybe not as strong buy as some they suggest, but we're still definitely at a buy on the weekly. If we look at the monthly, the oscillators are neutral. Although the stochastic is getting to the overbought section. The average directional index on the monthly is always a little bit stronger, and the commodity channel index is nearing 100. So we're almost getting to the overbought section. So on the monthly indicator, I would be a little careful, but we're still neutral for right now. In terms of the moving averages, obviously the last 10 months, because it's so heavily weighted towards this month, it's negative. But on the 20 and 30 months, I would really only look at the 20, honestly, because that's like already like more than a year and a half. The 30 is like more than 2 years. You can't really rely on that much on it. But the 10 focuses so heavily on the previous month. Like if we reverse back to a month ago, it was like extremely bullish. But right now it's kind of bearish because 47,000 is significantly lower than 49,000. So The exponential moving average on the 20, I think, is a little bit more of an even, like a bit more even in terms of like how it gauges. So I would still rate this a buy. Maybe not a super strong buy, but still a buy nonetheless. And of course, in summary, it is a buy. Now, I would only say it's a buy in terms of like the next like month, because like I said, I do think there's the psychological factor into play. People do actually expect it. Some people, not all, a lot of people do expect it to roll into next year, but some people do actually expect it to actually stop at the end of this year, just like back in 2017. So that might actually play a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you really do need to be aware of that. So I am definitely bullish in December, but after Christmas, I may reserve judgment based on other things I've seen. And plus, like if they speed up Fed tapering, that can definitely hurt the crypto market as well as the stock market overall. I don't think most people see Bitcoin as a hedge to inflation. But the thing is, Bitcoin tends to do pretty good when inflation is high, and them trying to curb inflation may not be so great for BTC, at least in the short run. BTC USD longs, about the same. BTC USD shorts, not very different either. So essentially, we are still at around 12 to 1, 13 to 1. Nothing new there. But like the fundamentals in terms of the news, like I think the Fed speeding up tapering and what Jerome Powell said is the big thing to actually look for. If they definitely do it at the beginning of next year after the holiday season because they want a strong shopping season or whatever, that definitely could put us in a short bearish market. I don't think it'll last like 2 or 3 years, but that could definitely put us in the short bearish market. And the consumer confidence is actually pretty low despite like wage increases and like the low unemployment rate. So that we have that right there. So right now people may not be so keen to invest, but then again, since inflation is pretty high right now, they may be keen to invest in Bitcoin because like they want an asset that can return them big yields. Of course, increasing the interest rate will put some money back into the traditional market because now you can get at least some interest if they raise the interest rate. So that's the thing that's actually plaguing us for maybe next year, something to look forward to. Definitely like reserve judgment after Christmas, but I think for this month, we're still going to be positive. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think, like and subscribe, and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.